Hello, welcome to my channel, and thank you for being here. The image I am talking about today, the caption reads, "Fishing in the age-old traditional way of the Tsonga people of Kosi Bay, KwaZulu-Natal, 1988." And again, I think one of my somewhat iconic images of a woman with a speared fish in the way that the people of that region fished with fish crawls um, in the Banganek, Ingwavuma area of the Kosi Bay system, which is very close to the Mozambican border. I was introduced to this area by the anthropologist and activist David Webster, who had invited me to probably I first went there, I think it was in 1985, to photograph the people, to accompany the academic study that he was making of these people. The tragedy is that David Webster was assassinated by the apartheid regime in 1989, and so that ended my association with him and his study. But he became a friend, somebody that I visited regularly in Johannesburg and made a few expeditions into this area with him. And I continued a long relationship with this place subsequent to that and the people of this place. So this is one of quite a lot of documentation that I made of that region. I introduced, for instance, the Association for Rural Advancement into this area because the then KwaZulu Bureau of Natural Resources in KwaZulu-Natal, a Bantustan environmental body, was instrumental in trying to remove the people from this region. And I brought in AFRA, the Association of Rural Association for Rural Advancement, to assist them in resisting that removal, which they were successful in doing. This is quite a popular place. I'm going to you'll see now. I'll show you another image that shows you a much larger sort of almost aerial perspective of what those fish kraals look like. And this is a very ancient method of fishing that people have continued to use, and I think still continue to use to this day. This is close to the estuary. It's a very beautiful area, and I try to visit it as often as I can. These days, with the cost of fuel and things like that, I seldom make it out there. But I, as I say, have a long relationship now with the people there, and yes, this rather majestic image of this woman striding through this watery landscape with a bit of the fish kraal, a little bit neglected in this part. But I mean, you know, they're constantly, the people would constantly be mending one part and just going through a motion of. I mean, there's a contestation. Obviously, there has been some sort of commercialized overfishing that has taken place, and it really depends on the degree of how cohesive the local authorities, the local tribal authorities are on being able to manage this precious resource, which has held people in good stead for many years. The community still has a somewhat contested relationship with, for instance, the Isimangaliso Wildlife Trust, which is now the post-94 democracy body that deals with this quite unique landscape that is from a kind of wetland that is from the St. Lucia region up through Sodwana to the Kosi Bay system. water system, um, and and uh, and so it's it's one that needs wise management on the part of everybody involved, and I think that there's been a tendency for our authorities not to have a cohesive plan of cohesive and inclusive plan um, of factoring indigenous people who've occupied these lands for millennia, to be included in the development processes that take place, and that's been somewhat problematic throughout the process. In the past, the KwaZulu and the apartheid state, along in collusion with the KwaZulu government, were more interested in creating these border and periphery um, conservation areas that they saw as being free of people. And that also coincided with kind of security concerns to secure vulnerable borders, because this place bordered pretty much within 10 kilometers of this image is the Mozambican border. And in the apartheid period of 1980s, Mozambique was a socialist country at war, but one which was sympathetic to the African National Congress and Umkhonto we Sizwe. So there was, that this border was a porous one that was used to import arms and cadres into the country. In fact, that's one of the ideas about how David Webster, why he was assassinated, was that the state believed that he might have had a role in this underground activity, which there is no proof of such that he had that role. But I know when I visited him, he had a huge network of people that he visited in this region: educators, health people, tribal people. He met with everybody. But of course, back in Johannesburg, he was also involved in detainee support committees and an active opponent of apartheid. And so he was assassinated outside his home in late 1989. And still, there's a shrine to him in this community. The people love him here. And his legacy lives on in many ways, not just here, but elsewhere throughout the country. So, yes, not a very long talk. I think I'll end it here. But just to give you a broader context of how the ancient can coincide with the contemporary and the present. So thank you for watching. More information on myself and my work can be found on my website, link to which, including my blog and email address, can be found in the video description below. If you like this talk, remember to click the like button and press subscribe. It helps the channel grow.